The O-A-O, the O-A-O, Home Varay, the O-A-Ra, Jarum Brunnen G, the O-A-O, Home Varay, the O-A-Ra, Jarum Brunnen G, the O-A-O, Home Varay, the O-A-Ra, Jarum Brunnen G, the O-A-Ra, Jarum Brunnen G.
Jerome Brunnen G. Hey, Ice Water J. Tonight I want to talk about one of my favorite shows on Netflix called Lexx. For those who don't know, sort of a science fiction show that came on Showtime Network a couple of years back. It's not on the air anymore, but if you have Netflix, you can most likely watch it, or on YouTube they have some clips of it. But it's one of my favorite science fiction shows because of the character Kai and just what he represents. He's basically, I want to say, I don't want to compare him to Jesus Christ, but he's a archetypal figure that reminds me of the Bible character Jesus Christ, in the way that he saved his friends. Spoiler alert, he saves his friends from dying so many times throughout the series, and final season he makes his great big sacrifice, but he's already dead. He's dead, but he has a conscience still where he fights for what he thinks is righteous. So a part of him is still here, and I think it takes seasons for him to realize that, like, he's not just completely dead. Like, a part of his conscience is here and awake, and that it's just, I just love the story. It just represents the friendship that they have. Like, the guy is barely there, but his mission, it's always been to fight for, truth and justice. He's just one of those pure souls. And I just like the show in general. I mean, the other two characters, Zev and Stanley, they're not the greatest characters in the sense of, like, perfection, but, they're just typical human beings, and they have their own dynamic to them. It's an interesting story. It's kind of weird for a sci-fi show, because they talk about a lot of sex in the show and a lot of just off-the-wall episodes. And
What kind of robot are you?
I'm a robot that wants to live in your underpants.
so it's different than what you might see on something like Sci-Fi. But I do recommend it if you watch it from beginning to end. It does have this scary element where they fight his divine shadow who rules the galaxy. Dun dun dun. Kind of like the Star Wars, the Dark Empire theme. And his dark shadow is scary enough, but it does with a lot of science and kind of evil technology. Like, it's done for just domination. And it's just really interesting. It's a real interesting show, and it made me cry. Like, that's why I mention it. The character Kai is so detailed with his culture and the story of his people, when he was alive. Because, let me remind you, the character is a dead character. He's a dead assassin. But when he was alive, he fought for his people. His people were on the verge of doom, and they wanted to live forever, and they were living forever. They found a way, but they let their lives become so stagnant to the very end. They actually welcome death. And he's like, well, let's just fight for our planet. And it's only like he's only able to rally up a few who were able to, go out there with courage and, like, let's fight for our planet. This is going to be our last, hurrah, let's do it because it matters, because we matter. And it just makes you cry. Like, his character is just like the be-all sacrificing character, the one that dies for your family and friends, and just knows what's right, and like he feels it and it's in himself, and he just wants to, you know, he wants to show that and do that and protect you. And I just like those qualities. You know, I identify with that. Like I would see that in myself. Like I want to be, you know, my all, and have that courage where, you know, I die for my friends, die for my family, and, you know, make that great sacrifice. And, you know, just that camaraderie. Yeah, he had loyalty. I think that's what I like too about him. It's his loyalty. Not thank you, I'm leaving, you know, I mean, use you and just go on to the next, you know, episode. But yeah, there are people like that. So it's not just a fictitious character. Like I feel like I try my best to be like that, and I feel like I am someone who is a loyal character in morale, and I try because I think, you know, I want to be the best I can be. So I know there are other people who are like me. So don't think you see this character like, oh, it's just fiction. No, I mean, it's based on some real archetype personalities that we have in our society. And wouldn't it be great if, like, we all sort of came from that cultural background? Like, we all kind of displayed what Kai, you know, displayed. Like, we had unity. We had loyalty to one another, respect to one another, and we cared about fairness to the point where that was just like, we all uphold the law in our own, like, no selfishness or jealousy within us. I mean, this planet would be awesome. We'd be ruling this planet with some awesome character, and we would be stars. Literally stars, all of us. But I just had to mention it, the Lexx. It's kind of weird if you're not used to how it's done. I mean, it's not your average sci-fi show you would find on Sci-Fi. I think those shows might be a little bit too geeky. It just kind of like G-rated. I mean, it's not realistic, you know, when you talk about like human behavior, and yeah, it's not really that realistic. So yeah, that's my recommendation. And stay tuned because I'm going to do another video on another sci-fi show I think you guys should check out. Stay tuned for that. I just want to check it out.